Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Strain coming at you with a very special ration review. Sorry, Nathan, but this one came from foreignmre.com, and this was listed as first generation of the brown bag MRE, so it is definitely from the 80s. And along with that, this is menu 8 beef diced with gravy and accessory pack A. It's hard to see the black writing on this dark brown bag. But along with that, they sent this bread shelf stable. This package has delaminated a bit, but it is sealed. The bread still feels a bit soft. I could not find a pack date on this, but it'll definitely be interesting to see what this looks like compared to the wheat snack breads that we know of today. Just holding it sideways, you can see that it is thicker. And it has, this is packed by Right Away Foods in McAllen, Texas. And it just says that all the way up and down the bag. These older bags have this notch because of the thickness of these bags. I'm sure the soldier out in the field just grabbed their knife and cut it open, which is exactly what I will do. And I am hoping that everything in here will be edible, the drinks will be drinkable. But just in case something is a little off in this snack tin, I have some other items I can fill in. For instance, if the coffee is bad, I got a backup coffee. If the cold drink mix is bad, I got a backup cold drink. I got backup peanut butter, cheese spread, and jelly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and cut this from the back. I have a pot of water on the stove because I will be boiling the main, and if there is a side item that has to go in, then I will boil that as well. I also have a kettle for the hot drink. So the first out of the bag is the accessory pack. And be hard to read this. There is Aletha in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I just started to pull the first item out of the bag. So again, this is menu 8 from the 1980s. Actually, I will look for a pack date on the accessory pack. It's hard to see if there is one. I cannot see a pack date on the accessory pack, but we will open that in. So I'll set that off to the side. Another brown packet item. And it's kind of like, this one is a little different. It's a chocolate brown. Cocoa Beverage Powder Type 1. And it feels very powdery in here. It says fortified. Again, I am looking for a pack date on this. I'm not seeing one, but that is a cocoa beverage powder. Here is something unexpected. This is freeze-dried pears. Eat dry or reconstitute with cold water. Oregon freeze dry, which we now know as Mountain House. So this is one of the first Mountain House items in a standard ration. So it's basically pears in their juice or syrup with any other additives that was freeze dried and then cut into these pears and vacuum packed. And the seal on there is very good. It is broken. I can't tell that the block is broken, but the seal is still there. And something that I had a feeling might be in there, the old MCI spoon, the white spoon that was in the MCI or Meal Combat Individual. So it's a pretty sturdy spoon, but that is obviously shorter than the foreign-MRE.com spork. So if I were to put this in here, in my drinking jar, it would barely fit above the top of it. So I will be using the foreign-MRE.com spork anyway. Next out of the bag is apple jelly. This is kind of a greenish brown. So this would go on the bread. This is a block. Oop, upside down, no wonder. It's a chocolate cookie bar. See, I'm going to look for pack dates on some of these. Seeing if there's one on the jelly. I'm not seeing pack dates. The crackers. This just says crackers. Very, very tight seal on these crackers. I am still not seeing a pack date, but I know Art and Nina did their research on this. Well, this is something that is hard as a rock. This is the lemon lime beverage based powder. This is as hard as a rock. I do not think I will be able to do anything with this. So my backup plan will come into effect. And then the last item out of the bag is the main itself, beef diced with gravy. Now this would have been something to have with mashed potatoes, because I could have done the hot beef sandwich with this. So unfortunately, this lemon lime or drink powder is going to have to go right back into the bag, because I will not be able to do anything with it. So in its place, I will pull out a couple items that came out of some accessory packs that I just bought in bulk on eBay. This, I've seen these with different colored labels before. This is the lemon iced tea. Really, this is the one with sugar, not artificial sweeteners. Then I also have an apple cider. It's a spiced cider mix. So this is the best one of these that I have. So either one of these could be an option. I'm going to set that just on top of the ration bag. Now let's get into the accessory pack. Oh, this has white toilet paper, but this has the tab on the end. Oh, Tracy Phillips is in the house. I watched your video earlier, Tracy, with your daughter. That was a fun one. I hope you like my comment. So this was wrapped a little bit different. It's got this tab on it, but this is how the toilet paper was wrapped. And here is matches. Midnight blue with white tip. I'm not sure if there's a color difference or what different colors mean, or that's just the stuff that they have available. This is the peppermint gum. It looks a bit yellowed, but the briquettes seem to be intact. Coffee Instant Type 1, and it feels very, very loose, very powdery. And just in case that is a fail, I have a Type 3 coffee. This is creamer non-dairy. This feels pretty powdery, so I have high hopes for it. This is sugar. And iodized salt. So that is the accessory pack. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to I'm rearranging a few things. So first I'm going to open up this this coffee. A very fine powder, and that will be drinkable. There is no doubt about that. No, the sugar will be fine. The creamer is tightly packed, so I am shaking that down. I can smell the aroma of that coffee. It smells wonderful. Well, that creamer is a no-go. See, it's all clumped up. I will not be dumping that into my coffee. Now that is what coffee creamer should look like. That is iced tea powder that looks pretty fine. It looks good. It smells good. I have my MRE Nation mug for the cocoa. We'll see how that is held up. The cocoa that Old Smoky had in his MRE yesterday was not all that great. This, it smells a little old. I'm just going to take a little test lick of it, dry, like heated. Dry, it tastes perfectly fine. Yeah, those creamer powders, especially if they get compromised, can tend to get a little funky. And so apparently that's what happened to not only that, but that lemon lime drink powder. So I will be putting water in this. Then I will take out, oh, let's see. Before I open this, I'm going to look for a pack date on here. Because I still want to know when this ration was packed. I am not seeing one on the outer box. But there should be a pack date on the retort pouch itself. Well, this is a true Army green retort pouch. Let's see, I don't know if that's 7132, I think. There's a bunch of different sets of numbers here. That's the only 4-digit, what's another character after, which I can't quite make out because some of the printing is faded, but here it says diced beef with gravy. There's a slight bit of delamination, but the pouch is still intact. There's no leak on the box. If there was a date on the box, it's faded or it was not stamped very dark. The ink might have been low when they were stamping these. But anyway, I am going to go ahead and put this in the pot on the stove, and I put enough hot water in my kettle to mix both the cocoa and the coffee. The first digit was a 7. On this. And but before I do, I'll show you something. There's 2 different levels of tear notches. There's one here and then one farther down. So why they did that, I don't know. But again, I'm going to go ahead and throw this on the stove. I'm going to grab the cold water for my iced tea. And actually, I have the cold water out here. I still have this apple drink. If I may go ahead and do it up. I don't know. Just have it out here just for the heck of it. And if this bread is good, what I may do, I may actually try to slit the bread and put the beef over it, just for the sheer heck of it. So, again, I'll be right back. Oops, I had a little bit of a splatter there, but I'll fix that. I see Rachel is here. I haven't been looking at the chat because I've been opening stuff, looking for pack dates and all that. I'll set that back here. I'm going to give the coffee a stir. Yeah, Art and Nina especially Art, we're both looking forward to seeing me open this up and wondering when I was do it. I was originally going to get into this after doing the Sapaco box, but they really wanted to see it, so that's why I put up the poll. Prepping to Endure is in the house. I have some vintage stuff on the menu today. I wish I could have seen more pack dates on some of these, but it's very hard to see on these. I'll get my kettle out of the way and I'll be right back. Now it's time to open up a few things. I think it's time for some hiss action. Let's see if we can get a hiss out of this thing. Oh, darn. I didn't hear a hiss. I don't know if I just did it too fast or what, but I really wanted to hear a very vintage hiss off of this. So the crackers came out just a little corner breakage on one of them. But this, there's a couple of different patterns going on here with these crackers. Looks like one has one pattern and the other has a slightly different hole pattern on here. So that's pretty cool. Now this is the chocolate cookie bar. I don't know if this will be edible or not, but the chocolate did. I tried to keep this thing cool, but my apartment gets very, very hot, even with my air conditioner going, because it's not cooling all that well. So, but this is what it looks like. And see, the chocolate melted a bit in the wrapper. Now it's time to open up this very interesting bread, see how it fared. And there's delamination on this packet, but oh wow, look at this. It's almost like a wheat bread. If you have ever seen the bread in an Australian CR1M, this bread looks a lot like that. Yeah, Old Smoky opened up a canned nut roll, and believe it or not, the nuts in that one had not gone rancid. There were no black spots in it, but look at this bread. It got flattened a bit, but I mean, it doesn't even smell all that old. The crackers smell older than the bread, but this bread has to be from that era. Now I wait for, sorry, bumped the phone out. While I wait for the main to boil a little more, I'm going to go ahead and mix up the lemon tea. It's a sweetened tea. I've actually had one of these before, and it's a sugar sweetened tea. It doesn't have the artificial sweeteners like some of the other ones from this brand. Vanessa Kitty is in the house. Jerry's Wood Shop and Outdoors. JM is in the house, and some others I probably missed. But this stuff is mixing very well. Definitely get the lemon scent off of that. So I just keep these back here. I am almost not wanting to open these pears, but I have another one that I got in the brown bag MRE that Old Smoky had sent me. And that one, the pears are in a white pack like you would see in the Ration cold weather, or the early versions of the meal cold weather, or it might have been in the limited run of food packet cold weather. But yeah, Tracy, yeah. It says you can eat this dry or reconstitute it. Anyway, I'm wanting to keep this as is and not open this one. Like I did that white wrapped one. I think that one was pears also. That was in the white wrapper. Yeah, I have nibbled on a couple of freeze-dried foods when I was doing a jar meal packing event with a few other locals here, and I nibbled on some of the veggies. Those are the only things that I nibbled on dry was freeze-dried veggies, and you know, they tasted pretty darn good. But if I do decide to open the pears, maybe I'll let you all decide if I open the pears or not. If I do, I'll get a bowl because I can already tell that this is broken. And this tray is my 1983 or 84 purchase from Tupperware when my class was doing a fundraiser to raise money for our class trip back in that we had in 1984, and we had a Tupperware party, and I bought this tray at that time, and I have had it ever since. It only got a few uses until I started doing these ration reviews. So now it gets more use, but since I have another tray, I trade off. But I figure since the beef would be a dark item, I wanted the light color of the tray, and plus I wanted to use the first tray that I started. Now this apple jelly, I'm going to go ahead and just tear the corner off. It's like that. I'm going to try it on its own. Well, it has, see how that has really, really gone dark. It looks like Russian apple butter. I'm just going to take just a slight lick of it and go back after that paper towel. It tastes a little like fermented. It doesn't taste like alcohol, but it definitely, there's a close-up look of it. Get it out of the shadow of my phone mount. I'm just taking another slight test lick. It does taste a lot, yeah, it's more of a tart flavor than newer apple jellies, but it's not supposed to be this dark. It's supposed to be very, very light honey colored. So I'm not sure if I will go on with this or if I'll go to my backup jelly, because I do have a backup jelly. But I'll keep it off to the side over here. I'm going to take just a slight nibble of this cracker. That has a real saltine cracker taste. It doesn't actually taste all that old. Now I'm going to take a little nibble of this one because this is a slightly different one. You know, Again, the hole pattern is different. That again tastes, it doesn't, and they're almost identical, but this one has just a slight bit more of the real saltine cracker flavor than the other one. Now I'm going to take a little nibble of this bread, just this little bit right here. It tastes like wheat bread. It tastes like very old wheat bread, but it tastes like wheat bread, which I think this is what it is. I probably will not be able to split this because, it's shaped different. It's gotten flat, but what I might do is I may end up breaking it up into the beef stew. I will leave it all to you. Should I open the pears and taste them, or should I just hold on to it and just of course, being freeze-dried fruit, it should last a pretty good long time, properly stored. I have the white pack one in my fruit bucket that I have all my freeze-dried and dehydrated fruits in, and I left it in the original packaging just as it was in the white wrapper instead of this green one. Yeah, I will. Okay, I'll be right back. I'll get a bowl and break open the pears. I grabbed a plate and a bowl. What I will do is I will first open it onto this plate. See if I can get a hiss out of this. Nope, I didn't get a hiss out of it, but this thing was a bit, it did not tear in the way that I hoped it would. But that's okay. I will just so that is the freeze-dried pears. It almost looks like cracker, you know, the different colorations in it. And it does smell like pear. I can definitely pick up that pear scent. I'm gonna... Yeah, they were. I was sent the original Mountain House ice cream sandwich several years ago, but then I recently bought their new one, which is the mint chocolate chip ice cream sandwich. But I will open that one up in another video. I may use that as the dessert when I do that Chef 5-minute meal stroganoff. So I'm going to go ahead and take this little nibble right here. That pear flavor is very, very strong. Yeah, I am looking forward to tasting that one. That is very, very good pear flavor. Oh, that's good that you can get them at your local commissary. So I'm going to take these two pieces here. I'll leave this one on the plate. And I still have water in the bottle. I'm going to pour water over them. Of course, that will not leave me enough water to mix the apple drink, but that's okay. I'm just going to see, this is already breaking up. So the pear nuggets are coming apart. So I will leave that back here. It'll be off camera, but I'll leave that back there to rehydrate. And I'll just leave the apple jelly next to the dry pear. Now I think my beef should be done, so I will go get that and I'll be right back. I just dried the pouch off camera, so that'll be a little bit easier to handle. I'm just shaking it down because I had it upside down. The pouch survived the boiling, which I'm very happy about. turnouts doesn't want to open, so I'm going to help it a bit. There we go. Okay, here comes the reveal. There's a lot of gravy in here. So I think this bread just might do good for sopping some of it up. It's like there's a bit of fat. Give you a close-up. Sounds like Smitty had some good news. That's awesome. Oh, wow. The beef is tender. It's pulled like you expect from a barbecue beef, or maybe a shredded brisket. The gravy is a bit salty, so I definitely will not be using this. But holy crap, I'm not getting any weird, funky aftertaste. And that looks like I had just slow cooked it yesterday. James Ortiz is in the house. First generation diced beef in gravy. And it is awesome. I gotta have another bite of this. I guess that was almost a megabyte. a little something for Dub C. Well, since the edge of the bread was kind of tipped into the gravy, I'm going to take a bite of this part that had dipped into the gravy. There's what the bread looks like on the inside. It tastes a little, I mean, it just tastes like old wheat bread, but But I mean, just look at what this. Now, back in the day, I'm sure the soldier who would have gotten this bread probably would have been flipping with joy because it looks like real bread instead of the wheat snack bread. I mean, the MRE packers should go back to something like this. And when I had the one that was in the CR1M, now that was a really, really good bread. I really like that one. I mean, I am so tempted to just break this bread up into this gravy and mix it up. In fact, I'm gonna do a bit with part of it that has already been dipped into the gravy. Now, if this menu had mashed potatoes in it, that would have been something for Dove C Megabyte. So here is beef with the bread. The old flavor of the bread does kind of take away from the beef, but I still have these crackers here. Again, for those that came in, the crackers, 2 different dot patterns. Now, how awesome is that you get 2 different dot patterns in the same pack of crackers? This one tastes just a little bit more like a real saltine than this one, but both of these have that nice saltine flavor and color. So I may take, see, and they snap nearly in the middle. So I'll put a few pieces of cracker in here. And I'll take a taste of this. That works better than the bread does. But the fact that this bread is in as good a shape as it is, I mean, that is a major surprise. Now I'm going to take a taste of this Type 1 coffee. Oh, wow. That is a good cup of coffee. I'd like to have some more of this Type 1. That is pretty darn good. Now, just for kicks, I'm going to put some of this apple jelly on here, on a cracker. And it looks like the Russian apple butter. It tastes very tart, like a tart apple. It has not quite gone to the point of being fermented, but it is getting there. It is close to being fermented. But as I said earlier, I do have backup jellies that I pulled out of my stash. So I still may go to one of those. Now there's a bit of bread and cracker with the beef. Again, the cracker is just a little bit better with it than the bread. Now I'm going to take a taste of this cocoa mix. It doesn't quite have the sweetness that it used to have, but because it's a fortified cocoa, I can definitely taste that there is something else added, like the nutrients that were put in there. But it's still perfectly drinkable. I'm just going to check the chat real quick. As Smitty, I hope you do have a full recovery, and it should be fortunate that you're in the place where you're at and not in other places where hospitals are having such a hard time dealing with the big nasty. Not getting enough PPE, not getting enough testing supplies to test people for the big nasty, or just having to do so much extra cleaning. Well, I usually do eat the entire ration. The only thing that I cannot go for is the original drink mix, the lemon lime drink mix. That's why I went for the iced tea. And the coffee creamer had gone bad, so I put in a substitute. I did not bring out a backup cocoa, but I still have this apple. I'll have to get some more water because my bottle is nearly empty since I used some of it to reconstitute the pears, just moving those closer to my tray. But I always finish these off after I get done streaming. And before I'm done streaming, the main is usually gone anyway. Especially if it's something that's extremely delicious. Like this beef one is. Oh, yeah, that's that lemon lime drink mix was as hard as the cracker pack before I opened it. That's how hard that thing was. I could not even squeeze it to try to break it up. Say if I was trying to do this with it, there was no way I could have done that without literally destroying the package or ripping it. So, and the creamer, it felt a little clumpy. And when I opened it, it was clumpy, so that's why I went for the other one. Let's see. I just pulled out my backup jelly. This is an apricot. Wow, Super Chat just flew by. Art did that. I may stick with this because this apple jelly is it's on the verge of fermenting. I mean, it's still edible. It looks like the Russian apple butter. Again, I'll just put a little bit more of it. See the apple jelly on the right, the apricot on the left. That's how dark that stuff has gone. The apple jelly should be lighter than this, when it's fresh, but the cracker itself is absolutely awesome. That's okay, Smitty. You have a good night, and just take some extra me time to heal up. Glad you're home safe and sleeping in your own bed tonight. I'm going to take a drink of this tea. Yep, that tea is, it's not excessively sweet like a lot of sweet teas are. Then again, I probably added a little bit too much water. I probably put about 10 ounces in here. But it's got the lemon flavor. And that was my backup drink in case the original lemon lime was bad, and it was, because it was solid. Now this melted, even though I tried to keep it cool, but I'm going to break this open. Oh, this is a fudge bar. It'll be very hard to see. There are dark spots, so I'm not sure if that's chocolate or nuts. I had a hard time reading the outer wrapper. But it's shiny. It feels waxy. I'll go ahead and take a test nibble. Nope. That one's gone south. I'm getting that weird, like pasty feeling. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with that. I will not be finishing that. I'm going to chase that with apple jam. Yeah, it did not even smell like a chocolate should be, but, at least I got to check it out. So I will not be finishing any more of this. the chocolate, the fudge bar or cookie bar, whatever it is, yeah, it's too far gone. But I do have the pears. So I reconstituted some of the pears. Are still a tad bit chewy, but definitely the pear flavor. And this is what it looks like in its original form. It looks like a cracker. It's got the colorations of a cracker. But even in its dry form, it still has, the humidity is starting to make it sticky. So it's very humid in here. My humidity is like over 50% in here. And this is starting to reconstitute just from the humidity. Pretty soon, if it keeps that up, it'll be almost like a heat dried pear. You know, like see, if I put some pears on my dehydrator, it's almost getting to be like that in its texture. But still, very, very good pear flavor for something that old. But I'm definitely going back for more of this. No doubt I will be finishing this off. Earlier I threw some of this wheat bread in there. I do not get that pasty feeling or that numbness in my mouth from this bread. I mean, it does taste like old wheat bread, and it is wheat. It is a true wheat bread. But if, like I said earlier, if ration packers would go back to something like this, I think the soldier in the field would be a happy camper. Because that wheat snack bread, I mean, it is so lacking. Type 1 coffee. I would love to have some more of this. If I could get a crap load of this type 1, that would be awesome. Because I really, really like it. Yep, let's see. Well, I've already got everything in here. That would be a good megabyte. I've done that earlier. But oops. Yep, there's some of the bread, some of the cracker, and the beef. The cracker is better with it than the bread, though, but still, it is pretty darn good. I just want to scarf this all down. Now this is a cracker that I said had a little bit more of the saltine flavor. And it snapped just as easily as the other one. And as you can see, look at the difference in the hole pattern on these two crackers out of the same packet. How often do you get that? I don't know if they were out of one and they just happened to have these other ones in there. So I'm gonna throw a few bits of this one in there. And this is the one that to me had more of the flavor of saltine. Than the one with the staggered holes. Yeah, this makes me wonder if when the crackers were being packed, they ran out of the one with the one hole pattern and they had to go to the other one. That would be my guess. Or the two crackers just came from two different companies that made them, and they just somehow ended up together in a one pack. Going to give the cocoa mix a bit of a stir again. Well, if anyone else ever gets one of these and has that happen, yeah, I guess now there will be a visual record of it. I don't know if any of those other reviewers who have done it a whole lot longer than I am and who have eaten more of these older MREs have seen two different cracker hole patterns in one pack. I would love it if they would comment on this video after it gets processed. Yes, I am eating history. And it's pretty darn awesome. And I shot a mail call video last night, and it was still uploading even as I was getting ready for this stream. So I'm using my LG Phoenix 3 to stream on instead of my Galaxy S5. So, but in that mail call I shot yesterday, I opened up the package from Foreign MRE, and it had the German 1987, I believe. I'd have to get it out and look at it again. It's a German emergency ration that is about the size of the Chinese ration bars that I also got. The box is about the same size and shape. That one has a tea in it. It's got water purification tablets, or some means of water purification, and it has the compressed food bars. It's one of those emergency survival rations that a soldier would eat as a last resort if there was no other food available, to bide time while he or she waits for rescue or a means of escape from where they're at. So I'm going to open that one up also when I open up that beef stroganoff. And I will get that ice cream bar, that Mountain House mint chocolate chip ice cream sandwich. I'll open that as well. So I will make a meal out of all of that. Sorry, I just couldn't help myself. I just had to finish that off. I put some of this apricot jam on this piece of the bread. And I decided to go ahead and put the super dark apple jelly, the packet, into the MRE bag, and that's where my trash goes. I just had another bite of what was dried pears. Now it's sticky It kind of clings to the plate, but it's still very, very good. And of course, back here I have what I reconstituted in a bowl. I still can't believe how good these crackers are. I thought the ones that I had in the previous brown bag MREs that I've done, the corned beef one and that other one, I'd have to go back through my videos to see which menu that was. No, you're perfectly fine. I haven't been looking at the chat much. I mean, go ahead, chat away. Unless I tap my phone screen, someone drops a comment, it doesn't stay very long. It disappears until I scroll up on it. It's perfectly fine. And you can, I invite people to chat. If someone says something nasty, that's totally inappropriate, then yeah, I don't dig that, but you're not doing that. See? James thinks you're good people. He gave you thumbs up. I'm just emptying this jam packet on the bread. I just unloaded on the cracker. So for those who say I should finish off the entire ration, I will be very close to it. I wish I could have eaten more of this, but it had gone south. The lemon lime drink had gone south before I could even open it. The coffee creamer had gone south, but I had a backup plan. So I wanted to be prepared in case some things were not edible. I could have pulled a cocoa mix, but I didn't. This iced tea mix, the one with the real sugar, that is the way to go on that. I have not had the ones with the blue, in the blue and white pack or the black and white pack that I've seen others show recently. But, some of those, the non-sugar sweeteners, when some of them get old, they get nasty. And I try to avoid the artificial sweeteners in their current form because some of them will mess with you. And some of them mess with me, and I'll just leave it at that. But this bread, as old as it is not as thirst-provoking as the wheat snack bread. Yes, I'm going to eat all of this. It would have been nice if the apple jelly was in better condition, but I decided I'm not going to go any more with that. Crackers should be like this in new MREs. They should go back to this. They got flavor. They don't taste like hard flour. I mean, they taste like the saltines that you go in a grocery store and buy. That's how good this is. Well, thanks for dropping in. Oh, it was good to have you in my chat, Rachel, and do come in again. Yep, that's why the MRE packers need to go back to this. Because these are the stuff. I was really hoping that these would be good. And they are. And to have two different dot patterns in one pack, that's an extra bonus. I'm sure that doesn't happen very often, but now there's video evidence of it. I think I'm going to go for the Reconstituted Pear first. And since this had juice in it, I'll literally drink this. These pears taste like they were not sweetened, so it is in their own juice. When they're freeze dried. I probably put too much water in it, but I don't care. I just wanted to make sure that they were covered so that they would reconstitute. When you eat it dry like this, especially in high humidity, it just melts. I mean, it's almost like pear candy. This gum, I'm not even going to bother open it. It's hard. I cannot even squeeze it. It's almost the color of the lighter portion of the pear before I reconstituted it. In fact, this side looks a little bit darker than this side. I don't know why, but I'm not even going to bother open that. And this spoon is definitely a keeper. I'm holding on to this little bugger. Yeah, I could crumble it, but I'm afraid the taste of it would just be so bad. And this rear roll is going to stay as is. I'm not even going to open this one. The other brown bag MREs that I had, they were wrapped in the way that they are now, just with the lighthouse info on them instead of doubled over like this and this little tab put on it. I was hoping to get the blue roll, but I would probably have to get a sea ration to get that. Or maybe, maybe some other ration that had the rear rolls that used the blue ones. I was kind of hoping to get the blue one, but I don't think I got that far back. But I was hoping to get this early spoon, and even the plastic that it's in is a whole lot different than what they are now. Creative redundancy is in the house. Sorry, dude. I ate almost all my dinner that was edible. Unfortunately, I had to go with a different coffee creamer to go with my type 1 coffee because what was in the ration was all crapped out. So I had another creamer that I put in. Oh man, is this type 1 good. This would be a great morning coffee. This chocolate fudge bar, yeah, it's gone south. I took a test nibble of that. Ooh, piece of cracker that I missed. No, I couldn't go anymore with that. The lemon lime drink powder, which is in a packet that is basically similar to what this is. or the standard coffee creamer packet before they changed to the foil tan ones. That was as solid as the crackers were before I opened the crackers. I mean, that thing was rock hard. I couldn't even do this with it. It was that hard. I had this on standby in case the tea was messed up, but this tea, which is a brown and white packet, it's the sweetened with lemon. I would love to see this come back in rations because this is good stuff. Now this cocoa mix, it's drinkable, but it does taste old, and it seems to have lost some of its color. It's lost some of its sweetness, but because it's a fortified one, you can definitely taste the nutrients that are in there. But the powder was in perfect shape. It was not clumpy. It was fine. It just tastes like a nutrient drink, a chocolate flavored nutrient drink that's been sitting around for ages. And freeze-dried pears. I think those and the crackers really made it a good meal. And that bread that our Nina sent me, that was in the same color packaging, as the rest of the items were. There's the brown label. That was surprisingly edible. I'm not getting that funky feeling in my mouth. It was still soft. It was not thirst provoking, especially after putting the jelly on it. Now the apple jelly was very close to fermenting. Hidden numismatist. Sorry, dude. Beef's all gone. I ate it all. But I put some of the bread in with the diced beef. I put some of the crackers in to add to the taste and texture. I did not need to add the salt. There was plenty of salt in the beef. So this is the salt packet. It's got more stuff on there. It just says iodized salt, and it's got that's 4 grams. I couldn't find pack dates on a lot of the items. I did see a 7 as the first digit of the pack date on the diced beef retort pouch. I couldn't read it on the box because it had completely faded off. And I couldn't find it on any of the other items, so I am going to guess that it's an 87. I could be wrong, but that's the only thing that I could find a date on or something resembling the date code. But it was definitely first generation. And at last check on for an MRE site, I checked a couple of days ago, and they still had one other left. So there is one more of this menu 8, or at least there was a couple of days ago when I last checked. So I would say if you can, get it. And because they store their rations in a good condition, something that I have a hard time doing here because my air conditioner, I got it on max, but when the cooling part of it shuts off for a few minutes and just the fan part is running, the temperature in here really goes up. And I got the thing on max, so I think I'm going to have to get maintenance to figure that one out, why it's not working right, or if I don't have anything set right. I tried fiddling with the settings on it, but I mean, it got up to the at least 90 or 91 Fahrenheit here in Des Moines. So that's probably like mid 30s Celsius, something like that. But yeah, it is definitely humid here. Yeah, so yeah, probably like 31, 32 Celsius here. Right number is the humidity. It just ticked up to 67%. That's how humid it is in here. And that could be due to the fact that I have my stove with 2 burners going, boiling water. So that's probably what jacked it up somewhat. And I also have my dehydrator running because I have some grape tomatoes on it. I dehydrated some green beans on it yesterday, and then I just filled up the leftover space with the small number of grape tomatoes that I had. So they're still going. So they're not as dry as I want them yet, but I just want to keep that going. Plus, that's an experiment. So I may not drink the rest of this cocoa, even though it is drinkable. It's just the taste is just not what I would like it to be. I mean, yeah, it is an old cocoa. I mean, it's probably from 86 or 87 also. I'm guessing this menu 8 is an 87 pack date. I have been doing a little bit more lately for a while. I wasn't doing it, but then I got hold of some limes. So I did an experiment. I literally skinned those limes. I broke the sections apart like you would an orange, and I dehydrated those. So I had 6 limes that I did that to. So I had a small bag of the fresh green beans. I left them whole. I didn't break them, the longer ones, into smaller pieces, but they dehydrated just fine. And now I got the grape tomatoes on. I got some broccoli that I'm gonna do, but I'm probably gonna have to put parchment paper down on their on the trays as I do the broccoli, because the little bits at the top of the florets, they would probably just break off and just make a complete mess in the bottom of my dehydrator. So, but you can do that. You can put parchment paper on your dehydrator trays. Yeah, mine is a round dehydrator. It's got the hole in the center for the heat column to go into. So there's plenty of air circulation. What I do not have are the screens that can go into the trays for doing things that would be of a finer, a bit like, say, if I did, broccoli on it, and I did rice cauliflower on it, but I actually use paper towels when I did that. And that worked pretty good. And I've used parchment paper when dehydrating some small veggie bits. I did beans. I've done canned beans and dehydrated those as an experiment, and they worked out pretty well. And I'll probably do some more of those because I have some more canned beans that I would like to try that too. I did that with black beans and pintos. I got some white beans that I want to try that with. But yeah, I'll do more dehydrating. And I got some baby carrots that I'll probably, unless I get hungry for those and just nibble on them, I'll probably dehydrate those. But yeah, dehydrating is a good way to preserve food. And I put my stuff in a Mylar bag with oxygen absorbers after I dehydrate it. And then I label them, what the food is, the weight, and the day I sealed it up. And then I put it into one of my buckets, and I've got 3 buckets recently that I showed in one of my mail calls for last month. And I've already got 1 bucket nearly full of some stuff. And I organize the stuff in the buckets. Like, I have 1 bucket that's just different rices. I have another bucket that's got rice. I call it rice and grains because I have some other grains in there. I got some smaller bags of flour in there. I got 1 bucket that's nothing but potatoes. I got 1 bucket of beans with 1 bag of a bean soup. And then I have several buckets of cereals and pancake mix. And I got 1 fruit bucket that's full. I got 1 veggie bucket that's full. I've started another fruit bucket. And that's probably 4/5 full. I can put smaller bags of fruit in that one. Maybe something no bigger than this, I could put that in there, or even smaller bags. Those bags of dehydrated fruit that I got from Sam's Club online. I took all those little tiny bags that were probably no bigger than this plate and probably held enough to maybe fill the bottom quarter of this cup, maybe bottom third. I combined those into bigger bags, put oxygen absorbers in those. So that added to my supply of freeze-dried fruit. And then I have another, I got into some more cereal, so I repackaged that. I got into some more rice, so my rice bucket that is to my right is now full. The last bag of rice is 3 pounds worth, so I put that in there. That one is maxed out, so I slapped the lid on good. And I got one bucket that I just called like meals and entrees. I got one of those that's full. I got another one started. So yeah, I'm getting lots of buckets and I'm running out of room. And I've rearranged some stuff in my closet so the cable guy could run some new cable for my internet reinstall when I got my home internet brought back. But I got to reorganize the top shelf of my closet so it looks a lot better. It's more organized. So plus I have canned foods that are 2020 date and newer in my bedroom. I got all my 2019 cans here in the kitchen or just outside of it by my door. So that's my rotation that I up this year, and that will free up those soda crates that I got that I can put other things in and reorganize it. And yeah, I'm working on my system. Sue Nelson is in the house. I don't have anything left on the tray that's edible. This chocolate fudge bar has gone south. My test snailable was a fail. But the 1987, I'm guessing it's 1987, diced beef with gravy, that entree was perfect. It did not taste old, even though the retort pouch did show some delamination. It did not taste like a retort pouch. It was seasoned well. I did not need to add the salt, not that I would have anyway, because I don't like to add a whole lot of salt to something that's already salted. But yep, that's a salt packet from 1987. I'm guessing there's no date on it, but since beef was the only thing that I could see a date code on, I'm guessing this is a 1987 ration. The lemon lime drink mix was solid as a rock. This gum, I cannot even squeeze it, so I'm not even going to bother with it. The creamer for the coffee had gone south, but I had another one. But type 1 coffee, this is awesome. I want to get some more of this. I would love to get some more type 1 coffee. And the apple jelly was as dark as the Russian apple butter, and it tasted like it was going to fermentation. And the freeze-dried pears, perfect. Yeah. Type 1 from 1987. Now that is a good cup of coffee. That would be a great morning coffee. Well, I hope you didn't have to work too hard, Sue. I wish I had a little more dinner for you, but the bonus bread that Art and Nina sent me, that was from that era, the brown bag era. It was a wheat bread. It was as thick as probably 2 or 2.5 wheat snack breads. And despite its age, it was still edible. It's not thirst provoking like the wheat snack bread is. I even mixed some in with my beef to sop up some of the gravy. The crackers were top notch. In fact, there are 2 different crackers in the pack, 2 different hole patterns. And I find that rather odd, so I'm glad I was able to document that oddity. So since the lemon lime drink mix had gone south, I got an old, well, not quite as old, iced tea mix from my stash. So that's what I have for my cold drink. It's cocoa fortified. I think it had seen better days. It's drinkable, but it just does not have the cocoa taste that one would expect. And I know Old Smoky and Steve 1989 and others have had cocos that are probably older than this that have come out better, but I don't know if it got compromised or if some ingredient in it had gone south over the years. Yeah, I would like to drink this whole thing, but I think I'm just going to take a pass. I've taken a few sips of it, but and just in case, I still had one more drink backup plan. I bought few years ago, I bought a bunch of accessory packs off of someone on eBay, and these apple cider drinks were in there, so I got a bunch of those. Unfortunately, one of those, somehow something leaked onto it, and as I was going through them to look for some backup drinks in case the one that was inside this bag had gone bad, one had gone rock hard, so I chose the best one of these that I had. I might actually make this up in the future. So, I mean, this one is still perfectly pliable. Unlike that lemon lime drink that was so hard I couldn't even bend it without literally busting it. But next week, I would like to go ahead and bust into my Sapaco box. So I may start early. Yeah, I don't know if this 7 o'clock Central time slot is good. If it's good for everybody, I may keep it. Although next week, since I do want to get into the Sapaco box that has a 2016 date stamped on it, I think that's an inspection date. I'm not sure if that's an inspection date or a pack date. There is not one of those stickers that are on the mil-spec MRE cases, because this one is a civilian case. It's a combination of like meat and chicken mains, vegetarian mains, and I don't know what menus are in there. I don't know how many of each. There are 14 rations in the box, so they do not have as much stuff in them as the standard mil-spec MRE do. So it'll be interesting to see what they lack. But for instance, if they lack coffee, I'll add a coffee. If they lack a cold drink, I got that covered because I got a crap ton of those. I got Russian, I got the Spanish isotonic drinks, I got some Canadian, I got a good variety of American drinks, I got a lot of British drinks. I have a few from other countries. I would like to have some more of the Polish and Lithuanian drinks. Those are really good. I'd like to have some more of the Australian ones because those are really good. But yeah, I got a few more of the iced teas and I got a few more of these, so I got things to fill in for those Sapaco. They're low sodium MREs. In fact, I'll just take you off the tripod. I don't know if you can see that under there. Actually, I'll hold it. That's the one side. I didn't want to show my the one side of the box had my address on it, but that's on my about page, so that's pretty much visible to everybody. So, but that is what I'm going to open up next week, and I will probably start early, maybe around 6:30 Central, so I can have time to open up the case, because it's still sealed. As you saw, it still has the straps on it. Open up the case, go through the menus, see how many of each one there are, and decide which one I want to go ahead and chow down on. That's okay. I was just, James, I was just showing my 2016 date stamped Sapaco low sodium case. It has the 14 rations instead of the usual 12. I got it from MREmarketplace.com when they had these on sale. They're older stock, and they were selling them for $35, free shipping in the US. I don't know how much shipping would have been if someone would have wanted it in another country, if they would have been able to receive it without customs having their way with it. But I bought probably one of the last of those cases, and you did not know which year you're going to get when you ordered one. They just randomly grabbed the box and slapped your address on it and handed it off to UPS, and I got a 2016. Others probably got like 2017, maybe 15. Maybe 2018 might have been the latest. I don't know. But I'm guessing it's inspection date and not pack date. But when I get into one of those, I'll open it up and we can see the date codes on the items. So that's what will be next Sunday. And I will go ahead and prepare one of those. And because they're, I'm not sure if I will use flameless ration heaters and do the salt action, throw salt in there with it, or if I will boil them like I did when I was doing my ration mashups. See, this one did not come with the flameless ration heater. Those were added to these brown bags later on, probably like, I think 89. Old Smoky and Steve 1989 and some of the others who have been doing it longer would know more about when the ration heaters were first introduced into the MREs instead of handed out separately to the soldier at mealtime, or if they simply had to eat their main without heating it up. But I would have boiled it anyway, simply because of the age. And I let this thing go probably twice as long as I normally boil an entree, simply because I wanted to be sure that it was fully cooked and that the retort pouch was going to survive the boiling process, and it did. Oh, 94 was the first year that the MRE got the ration heater included in the bag? Is that what you mean by a 94? I mean, when I had the 93 MRE, the corned beef, and the other one, I think it was a 94. I had the FRH in both of those, but I did not use them. I boiled the entree instead. But I had an FRH in both of those. But I'll tell you, that corned beef, now I need to get the corned beef that Black Dog Bob now has out. I want to get that corned beef. Yeah, I want to know what it is like compared to what was available when it was part of the regular MRE lineup. I mean, that corned beef was the bomb. That stuff made the canned corned beef hash seem more like dog food. But yeah, I like that canned corned beef hash, but the stuff that was in that bag, that was the best. Yeah, 90 could have been 92 because, like I said, in my 93 bag, I had a heater. And I had one in my 94 bag. But this one, 87, there was no heater in it. And even if there was, I wouldn't have used it anyway because, I wanted to boil it, so. I got one more swig of that coffee left. But I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one done because all I have left is my tea and my coffee. And unfortunately, I wish I could eat that, but no. I got that weird pasty feeling in my mouth. Like I just ate 10 cotton balls. So that's why that chocolate block is a no-go. And I really wanted to try the lemon lime drink because it was so hard. No. But so I'm going to go ahead and call this one good. I'm going to hand this on over to YouTube for processing. And because it takes longer, several hours for these streams to process, it will not be viewable till sometime tomorrow. But again, I want to thank Art for that super chat. And I saw another one fly by, but I just could not catch it in time. I don't know who dropped that super chat, but I do thank the person who dropped that one. And again, next Sunday, I bust into the Sapaco case. So thanks for watching and catch you on the flip side.